the Buhari factor from change agenda or mantra to the next level? A school of thought believe the policies of the government has not actually taken shape, and a lot of criticism has followed the next level, considering policies like the Ruga and all of that. What is wrong with the policy of the APC?
The next level policies of the APC is geared towards giving a new direction to Nigeria. Most of the criticisms I would want to see as antics and propaganda of the opposition. Of course, the opposition should be able to reinvent itself and see how they can get back to power. But these are mere antics and propaganda. I want to thank God because the president is very focused, committed to his 3-point agenda that he is taking to the next level, talking about security, economy, diversification, and other reforms, corruption. Now, you talked about Ruga. I have said it over time that Ruga is government business. And government business is the business for the people. Government has always been in the business of bringing about prosperity to its people. I give you an instance. There were issues in the Niger Delta. The people agitated. The people wanted better life. The people wanted improvement in their living conditions. The people wanted a revamp of their economy. Successive governments responded. And by so doing, we had the creation of the NDDC. We had the creation of the Niger Delta Ministry. And we had the creation of the Presidential Amnesty Program to assuage the sufferings of the people, to improve their economy. All these were done by the federal government, investing in people, investing in their environment, investing in their economy. So Ruga is no different. People want to ethnicize it, but I can tell you, when you see, let's be detribalized. This Ruga thing is for the nomads. These are people that live in bushes, carrying out their businesses. Have you ever gone to the bush and see where mansion is erected there? Have you seen electricity in those forests where these cattle rearers go about their businesses? Do you see schools there? Now Ruga is like trying to improve on the lot of these group of Nigerians. They are citizens of this country. Now people will tell you, okay, must they take over the lands of people to achieve that? The answer is no. I do not subscribe to taking over people's land by force. In any case, the Land Use Act of 1978 vests the custody of lands in the governors. So the federal government can enter into memorandum of understanding with the state governments that are willing to do the Ruga business. Like I said, it's government business. It should be run as a PPP investment. The government, the people, and their partners. So it's business. The state government could decide to provide land to the federal government to establish Ruga. But the land remains vested with the state government. Every land, of course, is on lease. So, when the national and state assemblies look critically into this issue of Ruga, we wouldn't have problems. All these different interpretations wouldn't be there. Personally, I see nothing wrong in government investing in a community, in a local government, among an ethnic group of people to ensure they get better life. That is, of course, a constitutional responsibility on government to better the life and property of the citizenry.
Be that as it may, you've been this argument that I asked you, the Niger Delta you made mention, they had an agitation which people consider to be legitimate. What would you say is the legitimate agitation of the Fulani herdsmen?
I don't know what you call legitimate agitation. Every Nigerian has a legitimate agitation to our Commonwealth. Every Nigerian, every citizen of this country has a legitimate agitation. If you call it agitation, I call it has a legitimate right to the Commonwealth of this country. Now, if we're going to look at the Commonwealth of Nigeria, how it has been distributed, how it has been allocated, will you tell me that the Fulani cattle rearer gets his due share? That man in the bush, does he get his due share from education, from oil subsidy that treks around the country? So how does he get his due share from the Commonwealth? Virtually all the facets and aspects of the economy is subsidized. So what is subsidized for him in that bush where he is? Is it healthcare? Because he's also in the bush with his wife. How they deliver their babies, nobody cares to know. So, like I said, Ruga is government business, is legitimate business, but the modalities had to be properly defined and worked out between the state governors and the president.
You describe the Ruga as a government business. One of the most potent arguments has been the land grabbing and the political the security ramification of the exploit. How would you address that?
Yes, on the issue of land, provision of land for Ruga, like I said, it's government business and it's business between the federal government and the state government. It behoves the state government that is interested in the Ruga business to make land available for that project. I don't think it is being foisted on state government that you must do Ruga business. It's the state that wants or that is interested that gets involved. And again, like I said, the land is vested in the governor. So even if the governor provides a land, the land is on lease and should remain in the custody of the governor. So at no time should that land revert to somebody you leased the land to. Now, if all this, like I said, the National Assembly, they streamlined these issues of the Land Use Act of 1978. If, for instance, I give you land to farm, should the land revert to you? Should the ownership of the land revert to you? At the expiration of the lease, the land reverts to me. In fact, the ownership of the land is vested in the governorship, in the governors. So, at no time should ownership of land revert to someone, the lessee. The lessor retains the custody of the land, and that is the governor. So once these issues are well spelled out, I do not see where it will begin to generate the kind of national controversy or agitation it has generated so far. On the issue of security, I tell you, my brother, we should stop ethnicizing or politicizing insecurity in this country. Crime and insecurity is everybody's business. It's no news that criminals are everywhere. And there is no ethnic group that has monopoly to criminality or violence. All we need to do is to be more security conscious. Now, it is common news now, commonplace, that every crime, they say, is the Fulanis, the Fulanis, the Fulanis. Sir, those communities where they are operating, don't they have vigilante? The neighborhood watch, what are they doing? Are there no traditional institutions, traditional rulers there? Take, for instance, Asaba. So all the lands and bushes of Asaba have been handed over to the Fulanis. What are the vigilantes doing? So applies with every other community. If you give land, or you see the presence of cattle rearers in your land, we do not want to know how they came in there. For instance, in Ejeme, where I come from, Ejeme and Yogo, they came to the palace to discuss how they can be in the community. There's a proper channel to it. You invite them, you summon them. Communities should be responsive, show responsibility in taking care of their indigents. So we should not at every point in time be looking for who to pass blame to. Government did that, government did that. What are the communities doing where these cattle are? In the first place, how did they come into those communities? I can tell you that beside the cattle rearers, the criminal elements among the Fulanis find their ways into the ones that are rearing these cattle. But if there is proper engagement between the communities and the actual cattle rearers, when they are infiltrated by these criminal elements, information will pass across. So what I'm bringing out is that the security situation should be everybody's concern. Passing the buck to the federal government, what are the state governments doing? The state governments, what are they doing custodians of the land we are talking about. What are the governors doing? And they are the chief security officers of their states.
Let me cut in here. The states, as it were, the governor will be addressed as the chief security officer, but in practice, they do not have absolute control of the security architecture. That being number one. Let's look at the arguments raised. Out of the pulse of the people.
Now, if they are not in charge of the security architecture in their various states, they can invest in neighborhood watch. In Lagos, neighborhood watch, they should strengthen the community vigilante groups. They should strengthen them, they should empower them. Thank God the issue of state police has taken the front burner. The governor should be in charge, not just in receiving allocations, but also in securing the life and property of the citizenry of the state. When invaders, intruders come into your state, how do you react? How do you respond to them? How do you protect your people? The same way, sir, you protect your house, you protect your family. As a governor, the onus, the responsibility is on you to protect the state. Before passing the blame to the federal government, engage the security agencies, the police, the civil defense, the army, the navy. Engage them effectively.
Did you hear the recent, just last week, that a kidnapper, a known kidnapping, specifically in Taraba State, was apprehended by the police and he was rescued by the military in what people describe as a disguise, and the
yes, I think there is an inquisition. There's a military inquisition into that matter. The defense, the chief of defense has set up a panel, I think a 7-man panel, to critically investigate that matter. Yes, it smacks of complicity, you know, but we cannot conclude until that panel comes up with its report. Now, up north,
the general pulse of the people is predicated on the antecedent of violence and taking over passes of land or whatever allocation is being given to them on a temporary basis, translating into a permanent basis, and the attendant violence meted out on the neighborhood. That seems to form the resistance towards the program. The complicity being noticed and the compromise within the military or the security architecture as being seen now, which is though not conclusive. Will it not be wise that the people are trying to be defensive?
Again, I said the onus is on the governors. The onus is on the governors. Every land in every state is vested. The custody is vested in the governor of the state. Now, any governor that wants to enter into Ruga business should properly define the terms and conditions before entering into the Ruga business. It's a business. Revenue will be generated, internally generated revenue. Potentially, will accrue to every state. So, it's a business that, if properly spelled out, is a win-win situation for all the parties concerned. Like I said, it's a PDP project. But if a governor, you feel you don't want Ruga business, it should not be foisted on any state. I don't think that policy should be driven down the throat of governors that are not interested in the Ruga business. But I can tell you, Ruga business is government business, is a lucrative business because virtually everybody eats beef. If 200 million Nigerians, 80% of 200 million Nigerians eat beef and other ancillary products from beef, then you know that it's really a thriving business. But to ensure security of that business and those involved in the business, how do you solve these perennial clashes, violent clashes, loss of life? How do you tackle it? You come up with policies like Ruga. So for me, Ruga is a well thought out government policy that should not be foisted on any state or any governor. It should be by volition, and it should be run constitutionally, bearing in mind that the land is vested constitutionally in the governors and should remain so. It should not revert to either the federal government or the occupant.
Land is free. You can walk freely, feed your animals on land, and there is no...
I don't think so. I don't think so, because we have the Arewa community in Delta State, and particularly Asaba here. If you go to Cable, there's the Arewa community. They even have their leader there. Okay? And they will tell you they've been here, they've been living here in Asaba for going to 200 years now.
Those are farmers.
They are traders.
Not headsmen.
Why? The heads. They are stakeholders. They are stakeholders. Okay? Any business, any agro-allied product or business, they are involved now. That is their business. That's the business they do. Vegetables, goat, poultry, cattle, that's their business. Okay? They should be members of the MAGBAN. Okay? But the issue is this. They have dwelt in the Cable area for close to 200 years. But they still paid tribute to Umwezei, the Aborigines, the owners of the land, where they are occupying. They are not laying claim to those land. So it depends on how ab initio the provision of the land or the land is acquired. And that is why in the case of Ruga, if we had made mistakes in time past, we should not continue in such mistakes. You know, proper agreements, proper specifications, issues that border on land ownership, occupation, administration should be defined from the beginning before the Ruga business is commenced, so that tomorrow the occupant will not turn to a landlord and the landlord becomes an occupant. And when these issues are carefully spelled out, then it becomes a win-win situation. We will all be home and dry. And then all the security implications, infiltrators of criminal elements into the Ruga setup will also be nipped in the bud. Because I can tell you, not all these killers among the Fulani herdsmen are really part of the Fulani herdsmen. It has been proved over time that some of them are foreigners. There's an issue in Lagos, currently trending in Lagos. There are Malians that involve some Malians. These are foreigners. The president at a time said that even as far as Libya, there are mercenaries into the country. That brings again the porosity of our borders, both land and sea. So the porosity of our borders has not helped the issue of insecurity that we have been grappling with, and has to be checked. If America can be building the wall across Mexico, committing billions of dollars to fence the borders of Mexico, to check drug activities and invasion of America, why not we come up with issues, come up with policies that will help us with migration and immigration activities that is flooding this country. So I can tell you that security should not be politicized, should not be ethnicized. It's everybody's responsibility. We need to put our acts together and tackle the insecurity challenges we've been grappling with in Nigeria.